Hey, hello. It's been a while, but I'm still here. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob, and yes, this is a video. You're not dreaming. Pinch yourself. I'm still here, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be getting back to doing videos. I know there's been a lot of viewers that are still here. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know that I stream at least twice a week minimum, but I know that a lot of guys cannot make it to the stream. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to cut my streams down like, you know, would be the wise thing to do. So I want to just come in here and at least drop a number of videos a week to kind of stay in contact with those who can't make it to the stream. Now, in terms, you know, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to try and keep it short, but to be quite honest, there's so many things to catch up on. Even though, like, you think about the Monsterverse news and things like that, there's not a whole lot. You know, we're going to get into what we do know about. But, you know, in terms of content, what you can expect going forward, I mean, I'm going to continue, obviously, always talking about the Monsterverse, always talking about kaiju, and hopefully what plans Toho has for the future. But I think in terms of other content, I think I'm going to be going in another direction. I'm not going to be doing too many reviews anymore. We got plenty of people on YouTube doing that sort of stuff. It's not to say that I won't give my opinion or share my thoughts on certain television shows or movies, but only probably at request, you know what I mean? And that's probably how I'm going to open up things going back into videos. One of the things that makes it tough about coming back is kind of getting the ideas circulating, getting the rust off. So always feel free to reach out to me if there's any particular topic, show, movie that you like me to discuss or that you like me to look into. But for the most part, right now, my plan is to get caught up to speed with a lot of you guys, and also to kind of let you guys know what's coming in terms of streams. That way, if you can make it, we're not going to stop doing streams, but also to make sure we stay ahead of the game now in terms of Monsterverse content. One of the things I know a lot of you guys like is when I do a lot of theory crafting and a lot of speculating. So we're going to see a lot of videos regarding that. I'm not going to harp too much on Monsterverse news. We have a lot of great facilitators out there that do that. You know, Gamoro Island. I know D-Man, once news starts dropping on a large degree, he'll probably be back. And it's not to say I won't talk about that news, but I'm not going to run to my computer to drop the content the minute it arrives. I'm going to give it time to you know, cycle through, make sure I get as many facts as I can before I share my thoughts on whatever Monsterverse news drops or whatever any big entertainment related news drops. So now, so please, in the comment section, feel free to leave any kind of requests, any kind of topics you'd like me to discuss. Now, let's get into the Monsterverse, because I know that's where most of you guys are here, and that's what most of you guys come here for. So the latest news we heard was that the next Monsterverse movie looks like it's going to be a Kong-centered movie. And this is something we speculated and spoke about last year around this time, once Godzilla vs. Kong was in the theater, once it dropped out of the theater for a little while. There was one article that specified that that the next movie would be a Kong movie and that Wingard was going to return to direct it. After that article, we heard nothing. I was of the belief that that's probably not possible because, as many of you might know, Adam Wingard has a number of movies in line that he's directing. I believe one is Face Off. I believe there's a Thundercats movie on the horizon. And then he's also been pinned to direct another Robert Kirkman comic book, I think, called Invincible. So he's got a lot. So when I saw that, I said to myself, all right, well, this can't be true because he's already got 3 movies lined up. And I don't think Legendary is going to want to wait for another director, you know, for another 4 or 5 years while they work on other projects. But right now, the winds of rumors seem to be pointing in the direction that Wingard is going to direct, and this is going to be a Kong movie. I think the most interesting thing about this is that we haven't heard from Legendary yet. Now, that could be that because there's some conventions coming up that they might want to make this announcement. Makes perfect sense. But you would think that since the cat's out of the bag now, why bother waiting? So I'm still kind of on the, like, I'm 90% in on what we're hearing, because it seems there's some evidence to back it up. There's been news castings in Australia talking about the Kong sequel being filmed there. You guys all know this stuff. I'm just playing catch up here so that we're on the same page going forward on our videos. So yeah, now my concern is if it's a Son of Kong movie. Many of you know me, and for those who don't come to the streams, I've never been a huge fan of children monsters. You know, monsters being the child of other monsters. It just never connects with me. I never just buy into that. You know, when I, for example, Godzilla, you know, when I look at Godzilla, I'm looking at a creature that's destructive. I'm looking at a creature that doesn't show any signs of compassion. And for him to actually have a kid that he has to look after, I'm just not sold on it. I wouldn't be sold on it in a Monsterverse either. Same thing goes with Kong, although Kong is at least somewhat more believable because he has shown capabilities of not only communication but compassion. It would be something that I would have to definitely see to believe. You know, do I think they can pull it off? Well, they've proven me wrong. I mean, Legendary, I didn't think they can pull off Mechagodzilla, but they put Mechagodzilla in a position where he wasn't heavily focused on. You know, when we go back to some of my streams from 3 or 4 years ago, I remember a lot of you guys, we've had interactions where I've said, hey, look, Mechagodzilla is just not going to work. You can't make a Mechagodzilla Monsterverse movie because, and I may name all my reasons, you know, audience may not believe it. How would you this and that and this? What they did with Mechagodzilla was they just put him in there. They just put him in there. They made him some high-level sci-fi project from a highly advanced company, and he was in there basically to put over Kong because they're not going to end the movie with Godzilla just annihilating Kong the way he did. They have to give Kong his moment. And you're seeing signs now that the Monsterverse is kind of shifting in the Kong direction. We still are supposed to be getting a Kong-centered anime on Netflix. We haven't heard anything about that yet. The Apple TV show is probably the wild card here because we don't really know what we're going to get. But my assumption with the Apple TV show is that it's going to be focused on Monarch and it's going to be more grounded on human activity. It's not to say we won't see monsters, but I don't think it's going to be as monster heavy as people hope. Again, that's just my early opinion and my speculation. But the Kong movie, the Monsterverse seems to be going in the direction of Kong, and it makes perfect sense. Kong Skull Island is the highest grossing film in the Monsterverse. Kong was more of a centerpiece in Godzilla vs. Kong. The story revolved more around him. Godzilla was more of a supportive role, and I think that's where we're going to see Godzilla going forward. I don't believe there's too many Monsterverse movies left in the tank here, but if they're going to stretch it out, I think they're going to have more success doing it under Kong and having Godzilla step in as another teammate. You know, one of the things, if you guys weren't on Monstrosity's channel with Matt, I'm sure many of you know him, we spoke about this yesterday on his stream. And just to let you guys know, me and Matt were talking last night after the stream. It looks like we're going to try and do this a little bit more often. I've had a great time talking to him, and he was expressing the same thing to me. We've got a lot of good feedback from our channels about how great the conversations were. So that's something we're looking to kind of leverage. It's just been very different. And we're actually going to be hanging out a lot at G-Fest. He confirmed with me that he's going. I don't mean to shout him out, but I'm pretty excited about that because I told him last night he's going to be like my unofficial tour guide. So, but yeah, I think that's where they're going. I think it's a wise choice from a business perspective. You guys know I'm a huge Godzilla fan, but I'm always looking out. I always want to think about the best interests of the Monsterverse in total. We're not going to see the end of Godzilla. That's number one. Number two, I do think Toho wants to take the reins back at some point. I think that's soon. I think now that things are a little bit better on their side economically in terms of revenue, especially the revenue stream they get from Legendary when the movies release over there because they get all the profits. I think they found some room. They've also expressed, from what at least in terms of their actions, to want to at least work or maybe learn from Legendary in terms of certain things, maybe certain effects. Maybe they want to figure out how to utilize motion capture. You know, we've spoken about many times that they have a position in Hollywood. They have an office out there now. So I think we're going to start seeing less of Godzilla in the Monsterverse, and we're going to start seeing more Toho-centered Godzilla pieces going forward. I think a lot of the little mini movies we've been seeing from Toho is kind of like their way of testing out some of the things they want to do. 4K Godzilla 2004 suit looks, it's too much clarity. It's so obviously a rubber suit now that maybe that's something they want to look at. How can they address that? I don't think they want to go completely away from suits, but I think they're looking for a way to either slowly transition out of it or at least unify suits and CG and motion capture. Again, this is all speculation and opinion, but that's just my thoughts. I think it would be a wise move too. They did a pretty good job with that with Shin Gojira, so I think they're looking to further improve. But yeah, I think the Kong, I'm hoping it's not a Son of Kong movie. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a lore perspective. I know the easy answer is, well, maybe while he's in the Hollow Earth, he finds that there was another surviving Kong species monster that is around what his age was in the 70s, maybe a little bit young, something like that. Yeah, but that defeats the narrative of him being the only survivor left, you know, and I kind of like the idea of that. I kind of, because that gives him more of a reason to fight and survive, where now he's going to be given a reason to maybe sacrifice himself, you know, for the protection of what would be his kid. So we'll have to see. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Godzilla pops up in this Kong movie. I don't think they're going to completely ignore the importance of Godzilla in the Monsterverse, but it really all depends on this deal they have with Toho. You know, how long does it go for? Is it renewed? Does Toho want to give it back to them, but maybe not now? You know, maybe they want to exclusively do their own thing. You know, it's kind of hard to tell. You know, we don't really know what goes on in the business room and in the boardroom in these meetings. But it's good to know that we do have a Monsterverse movie coming probably in the next 2 years. The rumor is that they're going to begin filming later this year. So if you take the average of what it takes, like 6 to 9 months to film, you're looking at a possible late 2023, early 2024 release. Theoretically, I'm leaning more towards mid 2024. Realistically, if all this is true, I'm assuming that there's going to be some glitches in there where some of these news stories are not necessarily accurate. But from the information we can gather now, it looks like, you know, we're going to have another Monsterverse movie soon. It's going to be Kong-centric. If it's a Son of Kong movie, obviously I will go see it. You know, I got to give them an opportunity to prove me wrong and win me over on the idea. It'll be difficult, but yeah, I think for the most part, Monsterverse wise, I think we're in good hands. Even when the movies do end, and they will end eventually, you know, we still have a lot of content to follow up. We got the Apple TV show coming, which I want to do a video talking about that specifically. We have obviously other content like comic books, and if you haven't read any of the comic books or the novelizations, I highly recommend it. It gives a lot more context to the movies. You know, a lot of people went into Godzilla vs. Kong not knowing what happened to Skull Island. But if you read the Kong comic book, you know exactly what happened to Skull Island. It's unfortunate we can't get that context in the movies, because when you really add in a lot of the things that they do put in text, it would make the movies extraordinarily long. And unfortunately, kaiju movies, I don't think those are the kind of movies you want to have lasting 2.5 hours to the high near 3 hours. As much as we all ask for it, I don't think it really works well with kaiju movies, because you're just putting in more. You're bound to put in more human interaction than anything else, because the longer you have to do scenes that are CG intensive, the more expensive it costs. And while the Monsterverse has been extraordinarily successful, it's not like they're banging out billion-dollar box office movies. You know, they're making profit, but it's very moderate. It's very, you know, it's not Marvel kind of money. So they need to be very aware of what they're working with in terms of budgets and things like that. The longer you make a movie like this, the more money it costs. So, but anyway, guys, yeah, so I just kind of wanted to come back with this video, getting right into that topic, because that's more the latest things we've heard. But we're going to have a lot of things to talk about. Like I said, I want to do a specific video about the Apple Plus show. We're going to be doing that. I also have something I want to start doing at least minimum weekly. And I want to do like a recommendation video. So during this whole time off, I've spent a lot of time like playing games, watching movies here and there, doing a lot of things that I have a nice list of shows, documentaries, movies, or games that I would certainly like to recommend to you guys, kind of give you a breakdown of them and why. And I want to do this at least minimum once a week, you know? So that's just something else I kind of want to put in there. I know there's going to be a lot of people requesting like conspiracy theories come back and stuff like that. I'm open to that. I always love talking about that stuff. But I think most of the stuff you used to see me do is probably going to go by the wayside. And I'm going to be a little bit more focused on certain topics, just so that when I get content out to you, it's something that's just more streamlined and you kind of know what's coming. But one thing I can guarantee you is you're going to get Kaiju, Monsterverse, Godzilla videos up the wazoo. And I'm going to be focusing on theory crafting and speculation going forward. I know a lot of people like that. So we'll definitely get back into the how I would do it type of series. And we're going to probably rewind it a little bit. I might even go as far back as how I would do it for each Godzilla movie that's ever existed. So, wow, that'd be interesting. I don't know if I do that with 54 though. That's to me is a masterpiece. So, but anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Definitely comment down below. Let me know exactly the things you liked about the channel, videos that you liked that I did in the past. I really want to get some insight to help the creative juices flowing again, get the rust off. That's always the toughest part about coming back and trying to do videos again, is really finding a way to get started, where to start, things like that. So help would be greatly appreciated. So definitely leave your comment in the section down below, or you know where to reach me, Twitter, Rob, E.T.N. at E.T.N. Rob, and then of course Facebook, the Nation Facebook page. So definitely go check those out. And of course, if you're new here, there is a subscribe button. You know, I would recommend you hit that. That'd be nice. But anyway, guys, that's it. I'll talk to you all very much. I'll talk to you all later. Don't forget, streaming Friday nights, Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.